Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. And of course, you can always listen to the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network on Spreaker.com. You can listen to the live shows there. And also you can listen to Boxing on the Beltway on Stitcher.com, iHeartRadio.com, on TuneIn, and on YouTube. And if you have my Twitter page, I have my Digital25, you can listen to the podcast there as well. We have some great information to tell you, and we do again this week. We have a lot of stuff going on this week. We're going to give you the full July schedule this week, as much as we have anyway. I'm going to give you, of course, we have some big events in the Beltway coming up this month, and we're going to talk a little bit about the situation that's going on with now former super welterweight champion Swift Jarrett Hurd. There's some interesting situations that are going on with Jarrett Hurd right now, and I'm going to kind of focus on that a little bit this week. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network, brought to you as always by Real Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain to muscle strain, everything between, Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, you buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. We have great jewelry for her and also great weight loss tips. She has a good book there on weight loss tips, and you can buy it by going to Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, before we get to the July schedule, we're going to look back at last week. And interesting week last week. It was a tough night for Beltway boxers over at the Gardens Ice House in Laurel, Maryland. And that was this past Saturday. The GQ Promotions card, and it was a tough night for Beltway boxers. Most of them got through okay, but they all were challenged pretty well, and a couple didn't make it, and one of them was the man in the main event, the GQ in GQ Promotions, Jerome Quigley Jr. out of Montgomery Village, Maryland. He lost a 6-round split decision to veteran Andre Thunderbird of Jacksonville, Florida, and that was in the main event. And truth be told, and Don Hollingsworth II, who again did a wonderful job on color commentary, sitting in for Juan Marshall last week, said it best. He was rusty. You know, he needed some WD-40 as Don put together there, and he never really got started. And he had a tough time letting his hands go. And Bird was giving the advantage. He was landing the solid punches in the bout, but he was hampering himself because he had points taken away in the second and fourth round. Remember that. Bird would land a solid right hand in the fourth that had Quigley on the ropes. Quigley would lose a point hitting behind the head. All three of the infractions were hitting behind the head. And that's what Dave Brazel takes points from. I just think Quigley was just not ready for this bout for whatever reason. And, you know, cracks may have been seen even in the bout against Raymond Serrano, his last bout, where he got cut in that bout and suffered a no decision in the second round of that bout back in June 28th at the Gardens Ice House. But truth be told, Serrano really fought well in the first round, was really in control of the bout in the first round. So I just think right now Quigley's at a place where he may not be able to go further than he has right now. He needs something to really take place. He's under the tutelage now of Hall of Famer Mark Too Sharp Johnson. That was his first bout with Mark and Ham Johnson, and quite frankly, Ham was highly upset what was going on. So it was not easy. So he's going to have to take a look at his career, and Quigley's going to have to see where he's going to be going forward. So we'll see what happens there. He may have to take a step back to kind of get his confidence going. But right now, Quigley is 18-1, 16 KOs, and 1 no contest. Andre Bird rose to 8-7-2 with 1 KO. Rockville, Maryland middleweight Cisco kid Francisco Bustos, he lost a third-round TKO to Del Vecchio Savage of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Got a chance to meet him after the bout, and he had him on the post-fight wrap-up show last week. Nice guy, very nice guy, and a great fighter. He really is a solid fighter. He's 3-2. All three was win by KO. I'd see the two people that beat him because he looked very good. He said he knocked Bustos down twice in the contest, and after the second time, Kenny Chevalier said Bustos wasn't ready to go. So Bustos now 9-1, 6 KOs. Savage 3-2, 3 KOs. And the rest of them rest of the Beltway boxers did pretty well. Mighty Joe Jones out of Leesburg, Virginia, won a 6-round unanimous decision over Twan Smith of Oklahoma City. Sexy Albanian Yank Plana, won a 6-round unanimous decision over Dennis Williams of Monroe, Louisiana. The best boxer tonight among the Beltway boxers probably was Leonor Alcantara, Platinum Power of now New Carrollton, Maryland. He scored a 3rd-round TKO over DeAndre West of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He was in complete control of that contest. And Larry Pryor won his rematch against Greg Hackett. They're talking about doing a 3rd time when GQ Promotion returns in August. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But it was a tough weekend for Beltway boxers. They had to struggle. Some got it done, but 2 of the big ones did not. So you can listen to that entire card in its entirety, I should say. Anytime you want to, archive right here on the Box on Beltway Podcast Network. Listen to the live coverage that myself and Don Hollingsworth II is doing. And by the way, Juan Marshall will be back with us next month, probably at the end of the month when Gervonta Davis defends his title coming up on July 27th in Baltimore. We'll talk more about that in just a moment as we start to go through the entire July schedule. Now, the July schedule is interesting. A couple bouts coming up outside the area as well. Saturday, July 6th, Maurice Winslow III, he's out of Oldington, Maryland. He will take on Clay Collard. Clay Collard's out of Cache Valley, Utah. Maurice Winslow originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, and has been training here in Oldington, over at Oldington Fitness for a while now. Winslow is 2-0, both between by knockout. He scored a 3rd-round knockout over David Ricardo Perez. That was on February the 8th in Raleigh, North Carolina, Dorton Arena. And, of course, he made his pro debut against Alberto Delgado, won a 2nd-round stoppage there at Bowie State University on September 22nd. Clay Collard is 1-1 and 3 draws. 1 win, 1 loss, 3 draws. And one of his draws took place in his last outing, 6-round split decision draw against Quincy Levi, who was 7-0 at that time. And they fought to a 6-round draw at New Orleans, Louisiana, Harris Casino. So that's been interesting about that. That'll be coming up as we record this tomorrow at the Seagate Convention Center in Toledo, Ohio. And see what happens there. And also coming up this Saturday, we talking about this. There'll be a meet and greet for undefeated Southwest DC boxer Dusty Hernandez Harrison. And let's find where that is. That'll be taking place on Saturday, July 6th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the LAX Wine and Spirits. And I don't know where that is located. So you have to check with Buddy Harrison. He's on Facebook talking about that. But that's going to be an event for Dusty Hernandez Harrison. And also Nathaniel ASAP Davis, who will be also on that card July 19th. And that'll be at MGM National Harbor Casino in Knoxville, Maryland. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Now, let's go to Friday, July 12th. And that'll be a contest. Actually, this bout is interesting because the man we're going to talk about isn't really a Beltway boxer, but he has Beltway connections. And he's fought here numerous times in the Beltway. So we're going to talk about him a little bit. And that is, of course, the heavyweight out of Newport News, Virginia, Jerry Slug Forrest. And Slug Forrest will be involved in a 10-round bout at the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington. And this bout will be shown live on Showtime. This will be part of a Showbox card. And his opponent will be Jermaine, the 989 assassin, Franklin, who is out of Saginaw, Michigan. And Franklin is undefeated, 18-0, 13 KOs. Jerry Forrest comes off a 8-round unanimous decision win over Joshua Tuft. And that was at the Boonesboro Ruritan Club in Lynchburg, Virginia, back on April 13th. Prior to that, he fought in the Beltway on March 8th in his 3rd bout against Grover Young. That was at Maryland Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. He won an 8-round unanimous decision there as well. Of course, again, he's fought a number of times in the Beltway. 2 of the 3 bouts against Grover Young took place in the Beltway. The first bout between the two back in June of 2017 took place at the Burns Arena. He's fought at the ABC Sports Complex a couple of times, Echo Stage Lounge in D.C., and Washington Hilton and Towers on a fight night card back in 2012, as well as the Renaissance Hotel. So he's fought here a number of times. So Jerry Forrest, his record is 25-2 with 19 KOs. He faces Jermaine Franklin out of Saginaw, Michigan, 18-0, 13 KOs. Coming off a 10-round unanimous decision win over Rydell Booker, That was on April 13th at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So this guy can really go. He's fought here in the Beltway. He fought Terrell Wright back in October 2017 at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C. I believe that was the alarm.com card. And he won an 8-round unanimous decision there. So he has scored unanimous. He's won a unanimous decision in 3 of his last 5 fights. Faces a tough one in Jerry Ford. That should be an interesting bout. And again, that'll be on Showbox on Showtime from the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington on Friday, July the 12th. So make sure you stay with us on that one as well. Then on Saturday, July 13th, this will be at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this is a card that'll be televised by Fox Sports 1. I don't know if the 2 boxers that are from the Beltway will be on the televised portion of the card, but we'll see what happens, because the 2 boxers on the undercard that are part of this card will be the Russell brothers, Antonio and Antoine. Now, Antonio is 14-0, 11 KOs. He'll be in a 10-round bout against, and this bout could make TV, I'm not sure, but he's taking on Francisco Pedrosa of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. He's known as Rayito Pedrosa. And Gary Antonio Russell is 14-0, 11 KOs. Antonio Russell, we should call him now, out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. He's coming off a 6-round technical decision over Saul Eduardo Hernandez. That was on May 18th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And I think there was a cut there, and Hernandez could not continue. And since about it going past the halfway point, Russell got the win. So Russell with a good win there. Again, he's 14-0, 11 KOs. He'll take on Francisco Pedrosa, who is fighting in the United States for the first time. He's fought most of his bouts in his hometown of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. He's 13-8 with 7 KOs. He's coming off a first-round KO over Oscar Esteban Arambulo, who's making his pro debut on that card. And that was on May 13th in Tijuana. So he hasn't fought the greatest of competition. For again, most of his competition taking place in Mexico. In fact, all of his competition taking place in Mexico. And so we'll see what happens. That bout scheduled for 10 rounds is Gary Antonio Russell taking on Francisco Pedrosa. Meanwhile, Gary Antoine Russell will be in this will be a 10-round bout as well. No, it'll be an 8-round bout. 8-round bout. He is kind of taking a step back in competition, I believe. He's facing a tough guy, and this is probably the only reason why he's getting this bout, because this is a guy that he may or may not be able to knock out. And this is a guy by the name of Lightning Larry Ventus. He is out of Detroit, Michigan, and he's got an under 500 record. He's 9-13-1, 4 KOs. Gary Antoine Russell, a complete perfect record of 9-0, 9 KOs. He's coming off a 4th-round knockout of Marcos Mojica. That was at the Barclays Center as well on May 18th. And he knocked him out in the 4th round, as we said. Ventus is coming off a 6-round unanimous decision loss to Frank Martin. That was on June 7th in Detroit, Michigan. Ventus is 9-13-1 with 4 KOs. I think we said that. And he's fought some really interesting people. He's fought everybody from Dorn Spivey. He did fight James Keep him Sleeping Stevenson back in November of 2014. That was at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Now the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. But he won by first round TKO there. Stevenson did. So that's the only Beltway boxer he has fought thus far. So be interesting to see what happens with this one. This is scheduled for 8 rounds. Antoine Russell, 9-0, 9 KOs, taking on Larry Ventus, 9-13-1 with 4 KOs. Now, I don't know what with any of those bouts will make the telecast. I believe the main event on that card, that's a good question. Robert Helenas taking on Gerald Washington is on that card. Jamal James, who's 25-1. I think that's the main event. Jamal James taking on Antonio DeMarco. And also Brian Perella's on that card. That'll be from the Minneapolis Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that will be on Saturday, July the 13th. Then the action returns to the Beltway, and that'll be on Friday, July 19th. And, of course, that'll be the top-ranked card that'll take place at the MGM National Harbor Casino, Knox Hill, Maryland. Now, only 2 Beltway boxers so far on that card. We talked about this a little bit. Dustin and his Harrison scheduled to be on that card. No word on his opponent. But Nathaniel Davis, ASAP Davis out of Lusby, Maryland. He is scheduled to be in a 4-round bout. And his opponent, he's a super featherweight out of Lusby, Maryland. He's 1-0, made a nice pro debut back on June 1st at the Waldorf Cultural Center in Waldorf, Maryland. Scored a second-round TKO over Alex Rivera. He will make a contest against 2-0 Orlando Vargas. He's out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And he is 2-0. Both his wins by first-round knockout. He comes off a first-round knockout over Tamarcus Smith. That was on March 2nd at the Voinovich Center in Columbus, Ohio. So Nathaniel ASAP Davis on that card, and he and Dusty Harris will be on that meet and greet on July 6th coming up this weekend. But that's the interesting card. The main event on that card is there are no title bouts on this card, but on the two main event bouts, which are Teofimo Lopez taking on Masayoshi Nakatani. Now, that bout is interesting because it has a connection to the bout that took place last week between Raymond Kame, I think his name is, and Reinaldo Beltran. And Kame won that bout, I believe. So he's supposed to take on Teofimo Lopez or Masayoshi Nakatani. Winning that bout coming up in the near future. Also, Maxim Dadashev, he's 13-0, taking on Sabrio Matias. He's also 13-0. So a lot of undefeated boxers on this card. So not a whole lot of Beltway action so far, but a lot of undefeated boxers on this card. That's Friday, July 19th at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Also, Nasty Nigel Fennell out of Salisbury, Maryland. He's 3-0. He's actually 3-0 with, I believe, 2 KOs. He'll be in a 4-round bout in Orange, Virginia. This is a card that's being match made by Scott Cujo Sigmund. No word on his opponent. It's a 4-round bout. So Nigel Fennell out of Salisbury, Maryland. We'll talk more about that in the next week or so. And then we go to Saturday, July 27th at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, the main event of that card, Gervonta Davis defending his WBA Super Featherweight title against Ricardo Nunez. And both these guys have great records. Of course, Gervonta Davis 21-0, 20 KOs. Also, Yurokis Gamboa is on this card against Roman Martinez. Darius Miller taking on Gisrel Corrales. Of course, a number of boxers from the Upton Gym scheduled to be in that card. That includes Malik Warren, Malik Iceman Hawkins. Malik Warren's supposed to finally make his pro debut. Malik Hawkins on that card. And also in the Upton Boxing Gym now, Kareem Remo Martin out of Washington, D.C. He'll be on this card as well. So hopefully we'll get the full card very soon and give that to you here. That'll be at the Royal Farms Arena. That's the Mayweather Promotions, TG Promotions card coming up on Saturday, July 27th from the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. And a couple other events coming up this week. We've got an event coming up on Saturday, July 13th. That'll be on 2821 Seaman Avenue. Don't know the name of the place, but it's the Peace in the Streets cookout they have in Baltimore. And it's be 2 p.m. There'll be an amateur boxing show there. And Shabazz Brothers involved. Of course, Upton Boxing Gym's involved. That'll be on Saturday, July 13th, 2 o'clock. The Peace in the Street cookout, very similar to what Al Malik Farrakhan does and we'll be doing later on this summer with the Ceasefire, Don't Smoke the Brothers and Sisters cookout he'll have coming up at the end of August, I believe that will be. And then on Saturday, July 20th, there'll be an amateur card at the Palmer Park Community Center. That's located at 7720 Barlow Road in Palmer Park, Maryland. It's across the street from the Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Center. So you know where the Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Center is. Going down Barlow Road, the community center is on your right. And that's where that will be. And it'll be an amateur show in memory of the great and late, wonderful Dave Jacobs, the great trainer of so many world champions, including the first trainer of Sugar Ray Leonard. Yours truly will be the master of ceremonies and ring announcer for that card. So looking forward to it. That'll be on Saturday, July 20th. It'll be a free boxing show, free and open to the public. Memory of Dave Jacobs. And it should be a good one. It's the 4th annual Palmer Park Boxing Show. And this will be interesting to see what happens there. So that's Saturday, July 20th. Also starting at 2 p.m. And that'll be at the Palmer Park Community Center. Once again, an address, 7720 Barlow Road in Palmer Park, Maryland, across the street from the Sherry Leonard Boxing Center. So that's our schedule for this coming month. So be a lot of action, as we always say, in the Beltway. Now, let me go over a little bit of what's going on recently in the life of former world super welterweight champion Swift Jarrett Hurd. Now, going into the fight against Julian Williams at the Eagle Bank Arena, my biggest concern, and I didn't want to say it a lot because it kind of goes against what I've been talking about for a while, Juan Marsh and I have been talking about for a while. But I think we got to a point where what was going on there was a little overboard. Here's what I mean. Juan Marsh and I have been preaching over the years about how our Beltway boxers have to do some things to promote themselves. Okay? They have to go out and meet the public. They have to go out and really sell themselves. Not just on social media, but I'm talking face to face, really talking to people, getting to know and trying to build a fan base that way. And remember back in, of course, Jimmy Lang did it so well over the years. Seth Mitchell did it pretty well. And others have done it over the years. But more need to do it. But what we found out during the week leading up to Jarrett Hurd's title defense against Julian Williams, there's a limit to it. And I think what happened that week was that Jarrett Hurd went over the limit. Jarrett Hurd was everywhere in the week leading up to that contest. He was getting along. He was the official ambassador for the Washington football team. He was at DC United games. He was emceeing a concert. He was doing interviews with anybody who would do them. And, credit to his PR person, Tatiana Moulton, who did an outstanding job even while she was pregnant and getting ready to deliver at any moment. She did deliver and has a beautiful, healthy baby. So congratulations to her and her husband. But I think it got to a point that it got to be too much. It reminded me a lot, and this may sound crazy, but it reminded me a lot of the movie Rocky 3. If you remember when Rocky won the title from Apollo Creed, and he was trying to enjoy his wins. Now, he had won a number of bouts leading up to his first bout with Clubber Lang, but before the bout with Clubber Lang, he was doing interviews, he was doing commercials, he was doing all sorts of things, and not really getting mentally and physically prepared to take on Clubber Lang. And even his trainer, Mickey, had a lot of misgivings going into that bout with Clubber Lang. And it sounds like, in hindsight, that Hurd's now former trainer, apparently he's left him now, but his former trainer, Ernesto Rodriguez, had some misgivings leading into this bout. And I think part of it had to do with the fact that Jarrett was doing so much. And again, Jarrett did a magnificent job of promoting this fight. He really did. Again, he was doing all interviews. He was doing things with the Washington football team. He was with DC United. We did all those things. He was at a big concert at FedEx Field. He was one of the guest hosts there. He was in parades. He was doing a lot. But as it came closer to the fight with Julian Williams, the question had to be, and I know I asked it. Maybe a few other boxing writers and publicists asked, reporters asked it, was he doing too much? Was he focused against Julian Williams? And again, and I hate to say that again because I want to see our boxers get out there and meet the public and build a fan base. But at the same time, it also kind of cheapens, and it shouldn't cheapen, the great win that Julian Williams had, because he really did fight extremely well. Do I blame Ernesto for this? I don't. But it just sounds like, in hindsight, and this is interviews that have been on social media from Ernesto Rodriguez himself, from Jarrett Hurd's father, from other people, and from Jarrett himself. He did an interview with Premier Boxing Champions, where this sounded like everybody was not on the same page. And when they're not on the same page, it's not going to work. No question about that. But I really believe that, especially in the week leading up to the fight, he had to do so much with the promotion itself, as far as the press conference, the meet and greet, the open workouts and things. I don't think he had an open workout. Now I think about it, he didn't have an open workout, but he did have the meet and greet, the teleconference, and some of the other things that he had to do. And he did so much prior to that I really believe that he was not completely focused on the bout. And, the only thing I could possibly blame Rodriguez for is that they did not have a plan B in that corner. Once Williams took Hurd's best shot, Hurd's camp had no plan B. And I think that may have been something to that. So I hate to see that team break up. They've been together since the very beginning. Rodriguez got him to a great point. He got him to the world championship. Got him to be one of the best super welterweights in the world. But Hurd has moved on. He's not out. Right now he does not have a trainer as of yet. Hope that'll come very soon. He took some time off, went on vacation, which is good, because he's been rolling ever since, really, even before he won the title from Tony Harrison. But I really believe that I think you're going to see a more focused Hurd going forward. And I think he's going to be, people know him now, so it's not like he has to sell himself to the public anymore. People know him. He has a good fan base here. And I think once he does come back, I like to see him come back in not a big fight, but somewhere he can really just get himself together, get himself refocused, and go back toward either the super welterweight title or even the middleweight title right now. So that thing has a future. But we'll just have to wait and see what goes on now, because it's going to be interesting to see down the road what will happen in the career of Swift Jarrett Hurd. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes right here on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Before we go, I do want to mention this, and this is a personal note. Next week, during next week, my wife Evelyn and I will celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary, and I'm really happy about that. This past couple years, especially, have not been easy years for us. Just on my personal situation. It's been a struggle, but no matter what, it's been great, and she's the most wonderful person in the whole wide world, and I love her dearly. So I just wanted to wish my lovely wife, Evelyn Williams, and thank her for 25 glorious years of marriage, and I'm looking for more down the future, no question about that. So I just wanted to close with that statement. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network is brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, she has great weight loss tips and great jewelry. You go to Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Reminding you, as always, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.